Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Sunday, April 6, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, my top plays on the board, including that rundown best bet each day in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Sunday, Major League Baseball. First up, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Washington Nationals. Corbin Burnes going for the Diamondbacks. Mike Soroka was supposed to go for Washington in this ball game, but he was placed on the IL on Friday night, so not going to be Soroka anymore. We'll see who the Nationals go with. Maybe a bullpen game for the Nats. And for me, I do think it's going to be a lopsided pitching matchup in favor of the D-backs, no matter what route the Nationals go with. We know their bullpen has struggled to start the year. And Corbin Burnes, while he wasn't his best in his season debut and his Diamondbacks debut against the Yankees, he's still, first of all, that's the Yankees. It was the best lineup in baseball right now so far this season. And two, it still wasn't a terrible outing. 4 1/3 innings, had 8 strikeouts, made some mistakes, gave up a couple of home runs, but the Diamondbacks were still able to win that game in the end. And I think he'll pitch well enough for the Diamondbacks to win this game. I think I'd also lean towards the over, though. I think the Nationals could find a few off of Burnes. I think the Diamondbacks do the rest of the damage against the Nationals pitching staff. It is a tough loss now for Arizona with no Ketel Marte, but I think even still, enough firepower for the D-backs and the Nationals to get this game over the total. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Tyler Glasnow and Christopher Sanchez are your starters. This has been a fun series to watch, a playoff-style series, and this is a great pitching matchup. Glasnow, we know, one of the best pitchers in baseball when healthy. Christopher Sanchez, I think, one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball. He pitched well in his season debut. I think he pitches well here. We know the other lefty in this rotation in Jesus Luzardo pitched very well at the beginning of this series, one of his best starts of his career. So I think Sanchez matches up pretty well. I think he has a good outing. Glasnow, I think, can go 5-6 solid innings. The Phillies are a tough lineup right now against righties. They have a low strikeout rate and a high walk rate. But I still think Glasnow puts together a quality start. I think this is going to be a playoff style under, just a very, very close game where runs come at a premium. 2 great bullpens, 2 great starters. Give me the under in Dodgers-Phillies. Next up, we have the Miami Marlins taking on the Atlanta Braves. Grant Holmes and Sandy Alcantara are your starters. I think Grant Holmes bounces back after a tough outing in his last game against the Dodgers. That was in Dodger Stadium against one of the best lineups in baseball. Now you're pitching back at home where you had much better numbers last year, 3.06 ERA compared to 4.0, and a much higher strikeout rate, lower walk rate, lower home runs per 9, lower opponent's batting average, all at Truist Park compared to the road. And now you're facing one of the weakest lineups in baseball in the Miami Marlins. On the flip side, though, Sandy Alcantara's got great numbers in his career against this current Braves lineup. Very low xWOBA, high strikeout rate, low walk rate. Sandy hasn't pitched too deep in a ball game to start the season, but we know him as a very efficient starter that does pitch deep into games. I expect him to go 6+ innings in this one. I think we go under the total in Marlins Braves. Next up, the New York Yankees taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Will Warren and Andrew Heaney are your starters. Andrew Heaney just faced his former team in the Marlins, the first team he ever pitched for at the Major League level. Now he's facing another former team in the Yankees. It's a much tougher matchup this time around, as the Yankees, you could argue, the best lineup in baseball against lefties to start the season. So I think Heaney struggled. I didn't love the fact he only had 2 strikeouts in 5 innings against Miami last time out. And Will Warren, he only gave up 1 base hit in 5 innings of work. It was 1 mistake pitch, giving up the home run. His control was a little bit off against Arizona, but I still thought he was a good outing for him. I think he's going to get a lot of run support in this game. I'm going to go with the Yankees in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Detroit Tigers. We're going to see Jackson Jobe and Martin Perez on the mound. Martin Perez was pitching really well in spring training, carried it over to the first start of the regular season. Quality start, no hits, and 6 innings of work with 9 strikeouts. And he's facing a Tigers team that A, strikes out quite a bit, but B, Perez got great numbers in his career against the current Tigers lineup. I remember he pitched against these Tigers last year when Perez was a member of the Pirates. It was one of his best starts of the season, and very low xWOBA in his career against the Tigers, low walk rate, low batting average, expected batting average, expected slugging. I think Perez puts together a decent quality start and gives the White Sox a chance to compete in this one. Jackson Jobe, his first start of the season, not the sharpest. 4 innings, 3 runs, a couple of homers, 4 walks to go with it. The pitch count went way up early in the outing. I'm going to go with the Chicago White Sox here, plus the 1.5 runs on the run line. Next up, we have the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the New York Mets. We're going to see Bowden Francis and David Peterson on the mound. We talk about Perez pitching well against the Tigers last year. That was the case for Francis against these New York Mets. He was 1 inning away, I believe, from a no-hitter in that ball game. He gave up a home run to start the inning. The Blue Jays pulled him, and then the Blue Jays bullpen exploded and gave up 6 runs in that 9th inning, I believe, and it was a 6-2 Mets victory. So, Bowden Francis had a great outing, though. 8 innings of work, only the 1 hit, 1 mistake, and I think it was to Francisco Lindor. And I think Francis pitches well in this one. I mean, I thought he was solid in his season debut, and David Peterson on the other side pitched well in his season debut as well against the Marlins. I think both of these starters put together a good outing. I think the Blue Jays find a way to win it, but I'm going to go with the under as well in Blue Jays Mets. Next up, we have the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Kansas City Royals. Kate Povich and Chris Bubic are your projected starters. Another game, another under that I like in this one. I think Chris Bubic, I made the prediction. I think Bubic ends the season with a better ERA than his lefty counterpart in Cole Reagans in the same rotation. Bubic pitched very, very well in his season debut. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, no earned runs. The Orioles have not done a great job against lefties to start the season. And while Bubic has not had his best numbers, against these Orioles in his career, he's just a different pitcher than he was a couple of years ago, in my opinion. He's really found his game. Kate Povich on the other side, I still think, I'm not giving up on Kate Povich. While he gave up 3 runs in 4 1/3, he still had 8 strikeouts in that ball game against a tough Red Sox lineup. I think we see both of these starters pitch well. I like the under in Orioles-Royals. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Carson Spears and Chad Patrick are your starters. I really got to give credit to Pat Murphy. We know he won the Manager of the Year last year in the National League. I think he could be on his way to another victory this season if the Brewers win this division. I mean, you look at Milwaukee, all the pitching injuries this team has had to start the year in the rotation and the bullpen. They've had to manage this pitching staff, and somehow they're still a competitive team. I mean, the offense has not done great. They're not hitting a lot of home runs, but they're still, right around 500 to start the season. I give them credit, and I think that they managed themselves to a win this game as well. I mean, Chad Patrick pitched pretty well in his first start of the season. He wasn't great out of the bullpen against the Yankees, but against the Royals in his first start, 4 2/3 shutout baseball, 5 strikeouts, and a 5-0 Brewers win. The Reds' offense has really struggled in the last week. I'm still not sold on Carson Spears. I thought he pitched well in his season debut, but I think Patrick could be the better option in this one. I think the Brewers find a way to win it, so give me Milwaukee on the money line in this one. Next up, we have the Houston Astros taking on the Minnesota Twins. Ronel Blanco and Chris Paddock are your starters. It may be tough backing the Twins in a game like this when Paddock struggled so much in that season debut. 9 earned runs, 3 home runs, 4 walks to go with it. I don't think he's going to be perfect in this game either. But the thing is, for me, I don't think Ronel Blanco has a great matchup against this Twins lineup. I mean, he has struggled against this Twins lineup in his career. The current hitters have a .662 expected slugging percentage, pretty low strikeout rate, and a high walk rate to go with it. So I think the Twins and Astros trade runs early on. And like I've mentioned, I think the Twins have one of the best bullpens in baseball. So I do give the advantage in the late innings to Minnesota. So I'm going to go with the Twins in this one on the money line. Next up, we have the San Diego Padres taking on the Chicago Cubs. Kyle Hart and Ben Brown are your starters. Another situation where the weather looks like it's going to be freezing cold and the wind's going to be blowing in at Wrigley. So expect a low total for this one. I expect a low-scoring game, but I do think the Cubs find a way to win, and I think Ben Brown puts together his first good start of the season. His last game against the A's wasn't terrible. 5 innings, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, and an 18-3 Cubs win. But now pitching at Wrigley Field, where he had a really good numbers last year in limited work, granted 18 innings of work, but low opponent's batting average, solid strikeout rate, low home run and walk rate, and a 3.0 ERA. I think he pitches well in this game. I think Kyle Hart also puts together a solid outing. I think the Cubs find a way to win this one, similar to the first game of the series in that 3-1 Cubs victory. I'm going to roll with Chicago and the under in this one. In our next game, we have the Tampa Bay Rays and the Texas Rangers. Drew Rasmussen and Kumar Rocker are your projected starters. We know Rocker struggled in that first start of the year big time, giving up a ton of sharp contact. The control was way off. He, similar to Chris Paddock, just got crushed in that first game. 6 runs, 2 homers, and 3 innings of work. And, on the other side, though, Drew Rasmussen doesn't have the best numbers against these Rangers in his career. It's a very small sample size, but extremely high expected slugging percentage and xWOBA. I think at a hitter-friendly ballpark like Globe Life Field, both of these teams should be able to get on the board early. I would take the over in the full game. You could take them in the first 5 if you just want to isolate the starting pitchers, but I'm not in love with either of these bullpens either, and especially if it's a competitive game, I'm going to take the over in the full game. Next up, we have the Athletics and the Rockies. Joey Estes and Chase Dollander are your projected starters. The number 1 prospect in the Rockies organization, making his major league debut in this one. And I think he has a solid outing, even though it's not easy for pitchers pitching in their first game at Coors Field. I think he's going to get a lot of run support, though, against Joey Estes, who struggled quite a bit in that season debut against the Cubs. That was the 18-3 game that the A's lost in Sacramento. Estes gave up 3 bombs and 4 walks in just 4 innings of work in that ball game. Just got crushed, and now you're pitching at Coors Field for the first time in your career. I think the Rockies have a feel-good win at home in this one. Give me the Rockies on the money line. Next up, the Seattle Mariners taking on the San Francisco Giants. Brian Wu and Jordan Hicks are your starters. I am still a little bit hesitant backing Jordan Hicks as a starter. He pitched very, very well in his season debut. His strikeout numbers were there. He was keeping the ball on the ground, exactly what you would want from Jordan Hicks as a starter, but he's still been very inconsistent as a starting pitcher in his time with the Giants, and I think Brian Wu is the better option, a little bit more trustworthy option in this game. It's nice to see the Mariners offense get going a bit in that first game of this series with 15 base hits, and this is not a team we expect that from, so maybe that kickstarts a little bit of consistency from this offense. Nonetheless, I think Wu's going to deliver a 5-6 strong inning performance. I think it's going to be enough for the Mariners to win this game on the road, so give me Seattle on the money line in this one. Next up, the Cleveland Guardians and the Los Angeles Angels. Luis Ortiz and Tyler Anderson are your starters. For me, I think the value lies with the Angels in this game. I just don't love Luis Ortiz as a starter. I think he's a decent reliever, more of a long reliever, a mop-up role kind of guy. But Ortiz in that first game against the Padres, 7 earned runs, 4 walks, and just 4 2/3. He doesn't miss a lot of bats. I think the Angels get to him early. The question is, can Tyler Anderson do a decent enough job to keep this game close and keep it competitive early? I think so. I mean, Anderson's actually the type of pitcher I wouldn't mind backing against the Guardians. He's got good numbers against the Guardians, current hitters in his career, low xWOBA at 291. So I'm going to take a stab here with the Angels in the first 5 innings on the money line and the full game as well. Next up, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Boston Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN, 7 p.m. Eastern. Miles Mikolas and Sean Newcomb are your projected starters. I think we see some runs in this one. I think Sean Newcomb, in the last few years, injuries and underperformances have really just derailed his career. And his first start of the season, after a decent spring, was just not great. We saw him give up 4 runs in 4 innings of work, 8 base hits to go with it. And I think the Cardinals can get to him for a few early. I also don't love Miles Mikolas in this matchup. He's got decent numbers against the current Red Sox hitters, but a very low strikeout rate. The slugging percentage, the expected slugging percentage, is a little bit steep as well. I think at Fenway Park, he does struggle against the Red Sox lineup that's starting to heat up quite a bit. So I'm going to roll the over here in Cardinals-Red Sox. And that's it. Those are the games for Sunday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, Ron Romanelli. Good luck.